Good morning, everybody. I'm at one of my favorite places in the world, the Indian Peaks Wilderness here in Colorado, and one of my favorite places to ski in the spring. Today, I'm going to be heading up on a new line for me, and that is Apache Peak, which is right behind me. Apache Peak is a prominent 13er here in the Indian Peaks Wilderness, and it's one of the peaks that I look at every single day as I'm driving to work. And there's a couple lines on there that I've been eyeing for a couple years now, and I'm finally making my way out here. I started my morning at the Brainerd Winter parking lot a little bit before 6, and then I had about a 4-mile bike ride up to the Longs Lake parking lot in Trailhead, and from there I have been skinning all the way up to where I'm at now, which is right at Lake Isabel. A fun fact is this is a very special place to me because this is actually where I got married. So it's always a special thing to get back here to Lake Isabel. But so far the conditions are pretty good. I will say that the refreeze last night was questionable at best. And this Apache Peak does get a ton of morning sun. So I am probably a little bit behind where I want to be. So we're going to just keep an eye on how the snow is in terms of warming and make sure we don't see any wet, loose or wet slab avalanche activity. It's been a beautiful day out here in the Indian Peak Wilderness as always. And I just got back from an international trip and I've been itching to get out here, and looks like there's still plenty of snow for maybe a weekend or two depending on how warm it gets. But I better keep moving to get onto the steeper snow climb before it warms up too much. Getting toasty out here. I would have loved to be an hour earlier today. I'm gonna have a little pond skimming action here behind me. See if I'm brave enough to do it today. I've made it here to the tarn right below Apache Peak, and I fear that I might be a little too late today. I got to start a little bit before 6, and last night knew I should have been starting an hour earlier, but I was jet lagged and I just justified needing the extra sleep and going extra fast today. But it is 8:30 right now, and the snow is very soft. There might have been a very weak refreeze last night, but that is mostly gone now, and these easterly facing slopes are very saturated already. On Apache Peak, I was eyeing two lines. There's the Apache Couloir, which is kind of around the corner, and then there's the Queensway that comes right off of the summit. And what I'm gonna do is head up towards that Queensway, because the lower section of that Couloir is a little bit more north facing, and see how soft the snow is in there. And worst comes to worst, I could just ski that lower part, but it is a long ways up here. So I will find some little ski objective in here on a different aspect, no matter what. There should be some fun turns between here and Lake Isabel. Right now, I'm just very disappointed in my planing skills. If I started an hour earlier, I would have been right around the summit now and would have timed it perfectly. But I haven't been skiing the last couple weeks and just didn't calibrate my timing and the temperatures last night super well. Let's go see how the Queensway is looking at the bottom, and we'll figure it out from there. But no matter what, it's just so gorgeous up here. Just enjoying being up here in the Indian Peaks Wilderness. I'm at the base of the Queensway right now, and there's a good amount of wet slides that have come off here in this kind of Isabel Glacier area. Right now it's still a little warmer than I would like, but the snow's a little bit more supportive here on this face, so gonna continue up until it's unsafe to do so. I just put the skis on my back and it is about time to turn around. But what I'm gonna do is just get to the top of this little chute couloir at the bottom of the Queensway. Unfortunately, I don't see myself getting to the summit. I just think it's gonna be a little late in the day. So I think for the first time ever since I've made a video, I have not made it to the summit I intended to set out to do. For me, safety comes first, and being able to turn around is what separates the people who have longevity in the mountains from those who don't. Gonna get up here, be cautious, and get this camera on and my skis on as soon as possible to try to beat the slog and the post holing on the way back to the car. I'm at 13,000 feet right now, and unfortunately, even though it breaks my heart, I am gonna be putting on the skis here because it is a little bit past where I think I should be skiing, and it is 9:30, which is kind of my turnaround time and when I thought I'd be skiing down. So again, a little off on my timing today. The good news is this couloir below me on the Queensway is the steepest and kind of most aesthetic part of the line. However, the snowfield above me is the snowfield I see on my drive to work every day and from my house, so gonna have to save that for another day, unfortunately, but as I've said a couple times now, better safe than sorry. Absolute stunner of a day up here, and gonna transition quickly and get skiing. Oh my God. That's when you know it's too warm. I'd do a pond skim if I had more speed. Well, going over Lake Isabel feels like the sketchiest part of my day so far. I'm hoping this whole ice shelf I'm on doesn't collapse and I drown in my ski boots. On the way in, I actually stuck to the shore side, but it's kind of scrambly up there, so we're risking it on the way back. So far, so good, but there's been some ominous cracking, that's for sure. There is no more appropriate place to end this video than the little rock that I stood on as I said my vows. Like I said, always such a special place for me back here, and to have the entire basin to myself is pretty special as well. But I want to say, I think turning around was the right call today. That main couloir off the Queensway had just ever so slightly too ripe of corn, but skied really well. And as soon as I got down to the apron, it was just rotten or near rotten. I think that extra half an hour to the summit taking in the views that I know I would have done would have made it such that there was a lot more rotten snow and there was a much higher likelihood of that couloir or some of that section sliding. The rest of the ski down was pretty grabby, but managed to link together some good turns. I will say I am so happy I waxed my skis last night with the warmest weather wax I have. I think that my whole day out here would have been very different if I would have not have done that, as it was still pretty grabby with the fresh wax on. It does break my heart to turn around that close to a summit, but I really think it was the right call for today, and I only have myself to blame for being selfish and trying to get that extra hour of sleep. I knew I should have been starting at 5, and I was like, we'll do it at 6 and just go super fast. Regardless, we got some incredible turns in. I will be back to Apache Peak at some point, that's for sure. We'll make sure to summit whenever I get back up there. As ski season winds down, I want to say thank you so much for watching these videos. And if you've watched a couple and are enjoying them and are not subscribed, please consider doing that, as it helps me out immensely. There's no place I'd rather be than the Indian Peaks Wilderness today. I was really worried I wasn't going to get my annual Indian Peaks skiing, and here we are, and potentially we'll be back. But with that, thank you so much for watching this adventure, and I'll catch you on the next one.